Hello, my beautiful friends. We are back, and we have survived eclipse season, and it is now Virgo season. Shout out to the Mechanism, who is one of my favorite astrologers. She writes for a lot of outlets like Bustle, and she has all her own services. She made this t-shirt. Anyways, I just wanted to touch base with you guys really quick and remind you that aside from these lovely free readings that I offer here, I have a ton of different stuff on my website that can continue to support you. If a personal reading isn't quite right for you, though, obviously I have those. I just streamline those services, make them a little bit more simple. You can find all that in the description box. I also have, of course, Siren Gang, which is kind of like being a part of a Patreon. You support me every month, and in return, I give you mid-month readings that include spiritual path, career, and love. And the way that I do the love readings, which are also available for individual purchase, is middle of the month of whatever current month it is, like let's say August, to the middle of September. So the only way that I offer love readings is either if you join Siren Gang for $10 a month, where you get all 12 signs, plus some energy updates written in a Vogue, plus $5 off anytime you book a service with me. Or you can buy middle of the month readings, again, cover love for a full month, and the 15th to the 31st or whatever on career and spiritual stuff on that month, and those are sold individually on my website for $777. And if you're called to donate to my channel, the link is below. I really appreciate that. This is my main gig, you know what I mean? I am in service for a living, and I love what I do, and any support that you feel you want to show monetarily, I would be open to that. It is my birthday on the 27th, so I'm turning 28. Show your girl a little love. Also, like I said, everything is updated in my shop. I did upload some crystals. All the sets except for one are sold out, and I think I have 2 individual stones still for sale. If you guys want to see more stuff like that from me, where I handpick stones and I charge them, you know, at a big lunar event, and I sell them to you, you know, comment below or send me an email. I also have the Siren, well, it used to be called Siren Support. Now it's just called Email Support. That's available in my shop. That's when you get access to me all month via email to talk about whatever spiritual issues you're going through. It's a little bit different than a reading, but it's more hands-on and supportive and direct to your issue. That's only $26. That's way cheaper than a reading. Also, I have custom ritual kits that can either be given to you singularly or in conjunction with a reading. That's in the shop as well. All the info that you need is in the description box below. And as always, I love y'all. You give me so much life. I love reading your comments. And I appreciate anyone that likes, shares, and subscribes to my videos. It really, really helps me out, okay? And now we're into your reading. Mwah. Damn, Pisces. You are not trying to give it up. Are you going to let the cat out of the bag this month? I feel like slowly and slowly and slowly your head has been building, okay? Like it's like a balloon, right? And it started at regular capacity, so everything that it takes on at this point is going to expand it beyond its like normal dimensions. And there's this feeling here that you're holding back, okay? Whether it be holding back good news, holding back telling people how you really feel, holding back the truth, holding back from exploding, holding back from expressing yourself, whatever the case may be. I feel like things are building for you mentally, okay? And it's not that what you're allowing to build up in your mind isn't real. It's just that it's always going to be bigger in your mind than it will if you just let it out. Because I feel there's people, right? Oh my gosh. There's people that need to hear it, okay? There's people that need to hear it. Okay. 5 of Swords, and then you notice how they spilled out. Like the 5 of Swords flipped and then they spilled out. So to me, this is what the 5 of Swords situation is about. 5 of Swords obviously is just a lose-lose situation. It's basically like talking to a wall, okay? Because even if, you know, sometimes it's more painful than talking to a wall, right? So that's why we avoid the conversation. Or it's like every time we go to talk to somebody, our feelings get hurt, and we're like, okay, it's the only way that I'm going to get my point across is by hurting their feelings, right? Shutting them up because, you know, I got to cut low, right? Dig it, you know, cut at the knees type of stuff. Underneath is the Page of Pentacles. So there's this feeling here that this conversation keeps happening because you and the other person or other people that you're having this conversation with haven't learned why you keep having it, right? You have never found a solution. And that's typical of the Five of Wands. It's hard to find the solution or realize the conversation is not worth having or whatever. And it's funny because the 4 and the Ace are here again, adding to the 5, kind of encapsulating it. So you keep getting new information or new revelations about where you really are at. If you're in a romantic relationship, I feel like you might be wanting to be single, or you're not feeling financially stable enough to continue the relationship or nurture the relationship that you want, and you don't know how to tell your partner that, or every time you try to talk to your partner about that, you guys get in an argument, and it never really gets solved, and you never realize, you never get to the positive aspect of it. So you kind of just have been holding your tongue. Now, if this has nothing to do with that, if this is an internal turmoil, a fight that you're having with yourself, or you don't want to really talk to other people in your life because it seems like no one's really hearing you, I feel this is about trying to figure out what endeavor you can go into that is going to give you not only financial freedom, but give you an emotional connection to your work, right? Making you feel like your work is purposeful and making you feel like it resonates with you. Because I feel like whatever you're doing for money right now doesn't resonate with you. I think maybe some of you are contemplating going back to school or getting another certificate or doing some type of training. But there's this 4 of Swords with the 9 of Pentacles to me is saying that there's some type of reservation that you have, okay? But it's almost like with the 9 of Cups here, you're afraid to be happy. It's like you're trying to, I don't know, it's weird. Like some of you may be afraid people won't be happy for you, so you don't share your news, or it's like if you give the news too soon, something might go awry, and then you have to announce that like it wasn't that good or whatever. But don't get too caught up in your head. If you really feel the need to keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself, but don't keep it to yourself to the point that you are having like these hearty disagreements with people, okay? Okay, Pisces. Interesting stuff we have going on here. I feel for the most part, this is probably manifesting as the energy of your overall life path, right? Your spiritual path and career. Definitely could be trickling into career, but there's really also a chance that it could be tipping into love relationships, right? Because especially if our career is really not going how we wanted to, we're just not feeling aligned, it kind of seeps into everything, and I have some serious chills. So you may be feeling like you've been on pins and needles with people as well. And sometimes we can get that feeling internally, like we are not meeting up our own standards and we're like having to tiptoe around our own inner critic or whatever. And so then when people ask us like a very, very simple question, a very minor question that even like kind of starts to hit on, that whatever that trigger, we kind of go off, you know what I mean? So I feel like you're kind of in, a little bit, you might be like in a minefield with things like that. Your overall energy is the Knight of Cups. So I feel patience is really important and compassion is really important. And remembering that our quote ideal life does not come overnight. And it's not just conjured up by, 1 or 2 simple things. It's created over time through dedication and mostly a dedication to a steadfast connection to what is really important to us, whatever that may be, right? Based on Spirit's advice for you and other things I'm seeing here, I feel like your issue is that whatever goal you were attempting to reach over the last 6 months, things have not panned out the way you had envisioned it. And that's not to say you aren't successful, and that's not to say that you aren't on path. So you have a very particular concept of what being on path is. And your attachment to what is on path and what is successful and where I should be at this age and where I should be at this milestone, especially also in comparison to what you were taught as a child or what the people around you are doing at your age, right? The mile markers, if you will, that you're being given.
it's making you feel a pressure that is just unnecessary, okay? And only you can free yourself from that pressure. And the reason it feels so heavy is because you know in your spirit that that's not for you. And, appearances are, one hell of a drug, because people can put on whatever show they want on the internet or even to your face at a party or, a gathering or whatever. But that has no indication of how happy people are. And I feel like Spirit is trying to get you to a more happy, heart-centered life. Okay, the Knight of Cups is an invitation and a message of how can you live more authentically? How can you live more creatively as well? I feel like you're not really doing anything for yourself that gives you any type of soul-centered expression. You may not even have any relationships in your life right now where you feel comfortable fully expressing yourself and really being honest, right? Again, on a heart-centered level. So there is a need to kind of slow down. I feel like this is about enjoying life as well, stopping and smelling the roses. Because even if work is great, like you're making a lot of money and whatever, if you're never doing anything to enjoy the fruits of your labor, that's going to burn you out as well. The energy that Spirit is asking you to release, we have the Two of Wands with the rune Standstill and the Six of Wands. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. Success in a specific vision being halted, right? And with the Two of Wands being what is halted, not the recognition, not the success, not the journey forward. I feel that it's not that you haven't had success or that you haven't created movement or created change or created progress in your life, but you just have this very, 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 very concrete idea of what you should be doing, right? And it's been halted. So you kind of have gotten a little bit pessimistic about what you have achieved. And I really feel you need to pivot, meaning looking to the other side. Look behind you. Look to the right of you. Look to the left of you. Because a little bit I think you're flying with blinders to your own detriment. There's nothing wrong with having a vision, wanting to bring it to fruition, and having that kind of heat attached to it, right? But if Spirit has locked the door, like, what are you supposed to do? Get the jaws of life? You know what I mean? What are you supposed to do? Not everything that we think is for us ends up being for us. And if a door has been closed on you, and I feel like it already has been closed a while ago, then it's just not the time now. And that doesn't make you any less successful. That doesn't make you any less of a progressive person. That doesn't mean that Spirit isn't seeing the work that you're doing. Because I feel like you are making moves, but they're just not in the way that you thought you'd be making them, and therefore you're feeling like you're doing nothing. And that is just a lie. It's just a lie, Pisces. So free up space to let people recognize also your achievements. Because you may have been kind of like keeping everything to yourself too, so no one is like bigging you up. No one's giving you props for what you're doing, because there's some type of shame that I feel you're carrying. And then, you know what? This Knight of Cups is also about forgiving yourself and inviting the energy of love and forgiveness into your life. The door that's not open that was once closed, we have the Queen of Swords with the Seven of Pentacles. And on the Queen of Swords, we have protection. So again, there is a little bit of this energy of hesitation. Right? Seven of Pentacles is saying that you're not seeing a whole lot of manifestation, right? You're not seeing a whole lot of physical evidence. And that has you really, really, really concerned that, you might as well not tell anybody what you have going on, because, if it doesn't come in completely, you're going to look foolish talking about it. I feel like that's what this is about. Now, with protection and the Queen of Swords, I feel like you need to be honest with yourself about whether or not you believe in what you're doing. Because the Queen of Swords is very decisive, and she knows the truth. Above all things, she knows the truth. She does not allow her feelings and her hang-ups emotionally or fears get in the way of what she knows to be true. So if you believe wholeheartedly that you're on a path that is going to, you're going to come with fruits to bear, and you're going to have things to pick, right? And you're going to have a victory that you can be proud of, then what are you really protecting? Because I feel like you're trying to protect your ego. But in the attempts to protect your ego, to not maybe seem, like a failure, or not seem like someone who's an underachiever or whatever, you're also undermining your own progress because you don't really believe that it's going to happen. So I really think that you need to ask yourself if your attempts to protect, your assets or the things that you have cooking, the things you have on the fire, right? Is it because you don't want to explain yourself to people, or is it because you really aren't sure if you're going to have anything positive to talk about, 7 weeks from now or whatever, So I feel like it's, you need to start spreading the news. Like, you don't have to tell everybody, but you need to be positive about whatever you're doing. Okay. If you're applying for jobs, if you're creating changes, if you're whatever, you need to vocalize it. Excuse me. Because protecting all those thoughts in your head, like I said before, that your head's getting big. You need, the balloon, you want to let the air out slowly, right? You don't want it to be popped like a pin and then everything explodes everywhere. So slowly let out that extra air, that extra hot air that you're getting in your head, which is exactly what I feel like this Page of Wands is. Let out that extra hot air so that you can think more clearly and you understand what it is that you're really shielding, okay? Your current energy as it relates to all of this. In your head, we have the Page of Wands with the rune Marriage, the Eight of Cups in your heart space, and the Eight of Swords in your foundation. So, again, we see overall a lack of movement, or a feeling like there's lack of movement. But like I said, there is more movement than you realize. It's just not at the pace that you originally anticipated, okay? The Page of Wands with the commitment rune, excuse me, for me is saying a couple things. One, you're committed to an extent to maybe living a little smaller than you need to. For some of you, this may be a juvenile mindset. Depending on how old you are, right? I feel like, I mean, this can be true at any age, but I feel like Spirit is asking you to graduate mentally and commit to something that is more mature, meaning like it's got more wisdom behind it, right? Mature doesn't mean like, oh, at this age I'm supposed to be doing this. Like, that's not what I mean. And I say that because we have the Six of Cups here, and I feel like there's an attachment to your youth. And there's nothing wrong with being attached in forever youthful, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing it at your detriment, if you're doing it to escape your your responsibilities, or if you have a habit that you're really stuck to from childhood, like if you didn't really say how you felt as a kid, or you weren't given the space to say how you feel, and say when you're upset or say when you're mad, because the Page of Wands, can be an idea and it can be something small, but it's something that's not thought out. It's just a little bit of an inclination. So it's like you may let your mind run away with you with these little inclinations, and it's because you don't express them. If you had the conversation, it would be you would realize it's a lot smaller than it is. The Page of Wands is also saying that you need to commit mentally to whatever it is that you're passionate about. And again, speak those passions into fruition, because you're not going to be able to, again, have a really, really strong belief in things that you won't even talk about to anybody. Again, this isn't about announcing it on the internet or to strangers, or, sometimes talking to strangers about stuff is better than your friends, Eight of Cups in your heart space is saying that there are things that you need to let go of, okay? Particularly, over the last 8 months, right? Over the last year, right? Since January. There's been things that have happened that can't be undone, I feel, okay? And Spirit wants more for you. This is about ascension, okay? The Eight of Cups. Because it's not like you're leaving behind a mess per se. It's just something that you're used to. And growth is never really comfortable, right? Because it requires more of us. It requires us to, again, kind of like take responsibility for everything in our life, okay? Where we fall short, where we, aren't as, mature as we thought we were, where we aren't as healed as we thought we were, where we have allowed things, to get out of hand, whatever the case may be. Because the Eight of Swords in your foundation is saying that you're just feeling so much restriction, but there's things that you need to forgive and let go on an emotional level. And that is what is going to free up the space to realize that you are not at all immobile. You are very much mobile. You feel mentally and emotionally trapped. You're not physically trapped at all. I need you to know that. You have plenty of movement to make, even if it's lateral. Okay, even if the movement is lateral, it's movement. Okay, so you're not stagnant. The Eight of Swords is saying that you're not a victim to circumstance either. And you're also not too young, or things are not too new or too unestablished to be committed to. Because if you don't commit at the page stage, when it's an idea, how is it ever going to ascend to a knight, and to a queen, to a king? You know what I'm saying? How are things ever going to advance if we don't commit at any stage? Again, the Knight of Cups is asking you to find compassion, first and foremost, for yourself, right? To leave behind things that, may have been true for a long time, or, you may have invested in for a long time, but they're just not, they don't make you feel good anymore. The Knight of Cups wants you to feel good. The Knight of Cups wants you to savor every single drop of your life, and not in a way that has you necessarily ignoring the truth. It's just a very emotionally present energy. Okay. Spirit's advice for you. We have death and the Six of Cups. On the Six of Cups, we have strength. So if this is about a relationship in any capacity, or if that's just one aspect of it, this could be someone that you've been with for quite some time. And maybe someone that you just feel like for the first time in your life, maybe you feel like, wow, I found a soulmate, especially if you're one of those people that's like, I don't believe in that stuff. And so the bond is really strong, right? It's an insanely strong connection. And the Death card is not necessarily saying that it's ending, but the Death card is definitely saying that the relationship needs to transform and take a new form. And if you're afraid of what's on the other side of the new form, like sometimes people need to not take a break from each other in like a corny way, like, oh, let's see other people. Just like give each other breathing room and just allow the relationship to kind of ascend, right? Again, as you change, relationships have to change. And that change does not mean end, it just means different. So if you are concerned about growing and changing because you think it's going to alter this relationship, then is that relationship really that strong? You know what I mean? That it's going to alter it beyond repair. Now, the Six of Cups also, right, is again about childhood and our inner child and the things that we've carried with us for quite some time. And there's some really, really, really strong attachment you have to your youth, again, or to a habit you picked up as a child, like maybe you were babied, where your parents did more for you than, they, quote, should have. So you have a hard time taking responsibility for yourself, right? That's one example. Or you keep thinking about the past. Like, I feel like you're stuck in the past. Like, every block that you're dealing with, everything that's holding you back is because there's some piece of you that is just living in the past. Okay? And the more you feed into it, the harder this change is going to become. Because this Strength card, you could say, oh, it's your strength. Like, maybe relating to children is your strength. Maybe relating to the youth is your strength. And you should think about that, especially if you are looking for a new career. If you have a way of connecting with kids, right, that, is really impactful, maybe the way you're doing it now isn't bringing you wealth or isn't bringing you success, but it could, right? So be creative about those ideas. But for others of you, there's something that has to change, right? Death, the longer we hold on, the nastier it's going to get. And that's why we have what we have in the outcome. But change is inevitable, right? We always are going to experience change in our life. We can't evade it, right? You know how boring life would be if everything stayed the same forever? So no one's asking you to change entirely, but you do need to transform aspects of yourself to their highest use, right? Like, for example, if someone used to be a heavy drinker, right? Like I used to drink a lot, right? And I just hit 1 year sober. So I obviously would have a better time or an easier time or be more inclined to connect with people that are going through substance abuse or are struggling with getting sober than someone who's never drank before, right? Because I am familiar with the energy. I'm taking a crutch, right, or something that I used to use that was toxic to me, and I'm transforming my connection to it and passing it down, right? With the Six of Cups, we're kind of passing down and bestowing knowledge as well. An adult or a larger child giving to a smaller child. What I learned in my youth, I can bestow upon you, so you don't have to make the same, you know, the same mistakes type of energy. Okay. Most likely outcome moving into October, we have the Devil and the Tower with the rune luck. So, you know, these cards follow each other in the tarot. Like after we realize how hung up we are in codependent we are on things, on people, on substances, on mentalities, right? Because we can be codependent on so many things, all right? After that, we have a revelation, right? The Tower. What we thought was true crumbles beneath our feet, right? And it's humbling, okay? It's humbling, but it's an invitation back into yourself. It's an invitation back into your personal truth, back into your own compassion. Because I think that you've been running from authentic embrace for a while as well. The Devil is saying that anytime we allow fear or prioritize evasion of our emotions, prioritize dealing with the heart of the matter, okay, eventually our luck is going to run out, okay, with the Tower. Eventually our luck is going to run out in the sense that because we're on borrowed time. I feel like some of you are on borrowed time with situations, okay? And that's not like, it's not like something, drastic, but it could be love related or it could be, again, career and stuff related because you're not living in a very authentic manner. But I don't think that all of you are going to experience an external indicator of all of this. I think it's more so going to be like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just all going to slap you in the face. Like you're going to realize like everything is completely maxed out, But it'll be interesting to see where your mid-month reading goes when I cover the 15th to the 30th because a lot of times heavy energy like this shifts halfway through the month. Because if you start to heed Spirit's advice early, you can shift that energy, all right, Pisces? Let's see what we got here for an affirmation. There we go. I am at ease with myself and I am at ease with other people. I am even-tempered and emotionally well-balanced. That is so perfect because what did I say? You have a lot building up in your head and you need to let it out because otherwise I think you will explode. This will be you having maybe, for some of you this could be going on a binger, okay, like a bender. For some of you this can like just being like, fuck it, and like just, doing everything because Lord knows when we get maxed out, you know what I mean? We're like, fuck it, throw away everything, And Pisces, you get 2 full moons. One is today, Saturday, and then the other one is later in September after the Virgo new moon. So you get 2 full moons this year. Okay, it's rare. So really harvest the energy, but also, full moons sometimes clear house. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Love y'all. Peace.